Hi, so we're working on assignment number 7, and we'll be moving from model space, which is where we're drawing the objects that will be constructed, to true scale, and then we'll be formatting them for plotting and printing. So plotting and printing are interchangeable words in AutoCAD because we would refer to a very large printer as a plotter. Um, so here's where your drawing should be to begin this assignment. We will go from this screen, and then I want you to look down in the lower left-hand corner, and you'll have Model, which is our highlighted tab at the moment. We have Layout 1, Layout 2, and a plus symbol. On Layout 1, that will allow you to set up a single layout for your drawing. And here's the default that you get just by selecting in CAD. And here's the second one. It's really just two different options for you to plot your drawing. So you can plot it on a smaller size sheet of paper and perhaps a larger size sheet of paper and choose different scales. On Layout 1, we're going to go ahead and set that up. And let me show you how to do it. On the Layout tab, the simplest way is to use your right-click button and go to Page Setup Manager and select. This gives us the opportunity to set up both Layout 1 and Layout 2. Click the Modify button, and we get our printer layout. For these purposes, we'll go ahead and use Adobe PDF, and I believe in the lab classroom it's Adobe or Qt PDF, so we want to use a PDF format to print these drawings. If you're in the lab, in the classroom, you can use the lab printers, and I'm not sure what they're named right now. We'll take a look at those in class. The sheet size of paper we're using is tabloid, which is 11 by 17. So that previews right here in this button. We want to plot our layout. If you're plotting from model space, you can print a window, which will just plot the area that you want printed. But when using Layout 1, which is also called paper space, that allows you to select the window, lock it into place, and continue to print from just that location. We have a plot offset, which is if you perhaps need to move the XY coordinates. We don't tend to use that often. You can also center the plot. So if you have an unusual size plotting area versus the size of your paper, you may want to select for that to be in the center of the drawing. Our plot scale when plotting in layout space or paper space should be 1:1. So we're going to go ahead and set our scale in a different location. So we want to plot it at 1:1. If you need to plot it from model space, you can set the scale right here, select a window, and see if that is what you're interested in plotting. So you may need to adjust it a couple of times. Here is where you set the colors and the line weights of your drawing. So you have a lot of different options here. None would be exactly what you see on the screen. So you have red lines, green lines, lots of different colors going on. AutoCAD has a default set of settings, and if you click on the Edit button to the right, you can see that color number 1 will be red because you're using the object color. These are a lot of different additional settings that you can choose. Every time AutoCAD sees color 1, which is red, you can apply all kinds of different settings to it and allow your line weights to be thicker or thinner, have different joins, ends, fill. The line type can be varied. You have lots of different things that you can work with. For now, we'll stick with the general settings, and I'm going to cancel that because we don't need to make any changes to the AutoCAD line settings. You can choose to use fill patterns. You can choose to use grayscale, and that would set all of your lines to a grayscale. When we do that, since we tend to use some of the lighter colors like yellow, they don't print very well in grayscale. So you'll see a very, very faint line when you use grayscale and you need to use a color such as yellow. What I tend to do is set up my own plot style table, and I call it KSLA, Karen Summit Landscape Architect. You can also set them up per drawing, or we can create our own, which we'll call OH200. So to do that, we'll click on New, and let's start from scratch and go to Next and call it OH200 and click Next. So we want to go into Plot Style Table Editor and click. This allows us to set the first 7 to 9 colors, like we talked about in our layering exercises, to print in a variety of blacks and colors. So we've already done that in our layer properties. We set the thickness of those lines, but let's just go back through here. So you have color 1 selected. Use your Shift key to select all the way down to color 6. And instead of using the object color, we're going to set them all to black. So that means anytime the color 1 is used, it will actually be a black color instead of red. And you are able to set the line weight in this table. However, we've already set it in our layers, so we will stick with that and allow the layers to supersede the plot style editor. So again, we're in Form View. You select color 1, Shift, select color 6, and instead of using the object color, we're going to make them all black. Color 7 is automatically black or white, and color 8, we are fine with this gray color, and color 9, we're fine with the lighter gray color. Once you have that complete, click Save and Close, and Finish. Now, this is something that you may have to do both at home and in the CAD lab. When you go to print in the CAD lab, you may have to create it a second time or save this plot style table to a place where you can pull it down in the future. So that's an option that we may need to use just because our CAD lab automatically resets every Sunday and gets rid of a lot of our default information set on the computer stations. We're going to stick with landscape format and go ahead and leave all of these the same. This gives you the opportunity to save ink. So you can print faster, normal, you can make the line weights super dense colors, not necessary in this situation. So we'll just stick with normal. Once you have everything set how you feel you want it to be, click Preview. So Preview is going to show you how it should plot from your printer. This gives you a chance to see and be sure that your lines are showing up correctly and they are either grays or blacks or colors if that's what you chose. So go ahead and click Close, and that is the X button in the upper left-hand corner, and hit OK. Because we're in the Page Setup menu, it's not going to go to a printer right now. It's just going to have everything set up how we wanted it. Now you can go and create a second layout, and we'll do that perhaps in the future, but this gives you another chance to create a secondary layout. And let's hit close. That automatically locked in the information for layout 1. If you go to layout 2, you can go through the same process again, Page Setup Manager, and go through our same process and create again. You can also use the plus button to create a new layout. So now we have 3 layouts, lots of different options. You can also go to your layout 1 and use your right-click button and use the move or copy command. So if you'd like to create a copy of this one, you can click OK, and you'll see that we have layout 1 with a 2 in parentheses. So that's a copy of our layout 1. You can pick these up and relocate them based on what you want the order of your drawings to be. You can also click on the tab, right-click, and rename them. So a lot of times I'll do this when I have many drawings, 11 by 17, and either name them in a way that has to do with the drawing size of the paper, or perhaps the drawing content. So that can be more complicated with base plans, planting plans, irrigation plans, things like that. Once you have it typed in, hit enter, and that locks into place. And we have our basics set up here. I'm going to go ahead and pause, and we'll continue on in the next segment.